Okie dokie. There we go. All right. Actually, I need to turn this like so. I need to turn this like so. So I'm gonna push my laptop back some without knocking it off of the table. All right. Let's see what I got going on here. Let's see what I got going on here. We'll see if I do some more. Doo-doo-doo. And we're gonna. Yes, I know. I know. One of your friends is live. Invite them together. All right. Who's live? Awesome. Hi, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Hope everybody is enjoying their day. If you are off today, I hope that you are resting. I hope that you're resting. I genuinely hope that you are resting. Hi, hun. How are you? Are you cooking today, or did you already have a day where you cooked? Hi, everybody. Hi. I so appreciate the love. How are y'all doing today? Hi. A 3-day event. Okay, 3-day event. We see you. We see you. Okay, then. I love that. I love it. There's no cooking happening over here today. My dad came and cooked yesterday, but no cooking happening over here on today. I'm gonna string these beads um, for. I had a necklace that someone did, and that I made for somebody for protection, and apparently it did its job and caught one for them. So I'm like, okay, alrighty. So I cleansed it up real nice, and now I'm just gonna restring it. I'm probably gonna funk it out just a little bit differently than I did before because I got some more bobbles that I can add to it. And I find uh, you can cook for me. I've already said that. I already said you can cook for me. You're absolutely welcome to cook for me. Alafia, Darcel. Alafia. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this because it was wild. It was really, really wild. So I had a conversation with someone, and they know who they are. So I had a conversation with someone around Ifa, Odisha traditions, and just their growth, their evolution, how they're shifting, how they're changing. It made me not triggered in a bad way. Maybe activated is the better word to use versus triggered. I felt really activated. Inbox me. We can set up a time, maybe not this weekend, but maybe sometime next week or something. Just you the busy chef. You inbox me and let me know what you. And we'll try to work something out. So yeah, so having this conversation about Ifa and Orisha and its evolution and its growth and how shifting and changing and taking the tradition as it is and how can we make it invite it to more people, especially African Americans. A lot of the people that I know that are African Americans end up initiating in the Afro-Cuban tradition, which is nothing wrong with that, but that's what they have. That's what they're aware of. Most of them are not even aware of Isheshe until later on. So we were just having this conversation, And so for my divination on Monday, I asked Ifa, I said, what is it that you're calling me to do with Ifa? And we had a really deep conversation about the need for balance in the feminine and masculine. And literally, my Odu said, the needs, I was like, what am I supposed to do for people with Ifa? And it literally has balancing the feminine and the masculine. And I'm just sitting there looking at the Odu. And I'm just sitting there looking at it. And I'm like, you have no idea how bad, like how badly, right? First, somebody almost got a phone call at old dark 30 in the morning. Somebody almost got a phone call at old dark 30 in the morning. And I was just like, So what I got was Irete Irosun. And let me just tell you how powerful it is. So Irete represents the mothers. Irete Meiji is the Odu of the Iyami of the mothers. And then we have Irosun, which is fulfilling our ancestral potential. So I'm asking Ifa, what am I supposed to do? And the first leg of the Odu is about the mothers. And so again, I'm thinking back to this conversation that I had, and we're talking about on Saturday for those who didn't have the pleasure of attending, and hopefully you will attend my next one. I do a Soulful Saturday every 2 weeks, and I didn't socialize it like I normally do. So I decided not to do it on Zoom. It is typically on Zoom. It is donation based. You get a donation, you get the Zoom link, and you join me on Zoom, and you get to experience how I honor Ifa in Odisha on a Saturday morning. So, you know, during the course of that what I decided that day was to honor Odu. And so, which is the cosmic womb, the sacred calabash, the womb of creation. So when I was having the conversation later and we were talking about Odu and things of that nature and the need for us to bring feminine energy back into our spiritual practice, and how we need to balancing that. And so to get Irete, the mothers, the first leg is the mothers. The first part is the mothers. The second part, Irosun, is our ancestral fulfillment. It is taking our ancestral lineage, gifts and talents and things, and then using them to progress and move forward. But it's not just that. Irosun is also the menstrual blood. That is the literal Yoruba translation of the word is menstrual blood. And so now I'm just looking at, and when we know, like for those of you who have spiritual practice and have connection and understand the representation of women in spirituality, not the divine feminine, women specifically, and how powerful menstrual blood is. And even there was a question about look, then there was a question regarding whether or not women on their cycle could actually connect with their Ifa. And I'm just like, this ain't no coincidence. This is not a coincidence. And beyond that, I asked of it because my students right now, so my students that are going through from self to source with Ifa right now, we are in the stage of doing shadow work. And what I told them is that they would not do this leg of this journey alone. Like we're doing shadow work. Shadow work is a constant thing. And so I'm actively doing shadow work. And so after the conversation on Saturday, which is a beautiful conversation, absolutely beautiful, I was just like, I sat there for a minute. And this person, I've been following them. I've only been on TikTok. I think this year will make 2 years on TikTok. And I've been following him almost the whole time that I've been on here. And for him to want to hold a conversation with me floored me. It really did floor me because in my shadow, I am still dealing with imposter syndrome. I acknowledge that. I don't judge it. I have those moments. I do stuff in spite of it. I go live in spite of the imposter syndrome. I teach in spite of the imposter syndrome. But it does not mean I don't acknowledge the fact that it exists. So I look and I'm like, I'm kind of in this place of like, did this just happen? Like, is this real? Did this just happen? And then I go and I catch like a glimpse of how many followers they have. They have almost 100,000. There's like, this is their reach. You think about this, this is their reach. Their reach is at almost 100K. And I'm sitting here, and recently there was an Odoo that talked about knowing that you belong in the room. And I was sitting there like, yo, did I even belong on the phone? Like, did I even belong on the phone with this individual having this conversation? Was this even where I was supposed to be? And I just, like, I can't put it into words for someone who didn't grow up as the really smart kid in class who was still invisible. I was seen when someone needed help with their homework. Oh, they saw me then. They saw me when they were having a problem. They also saw me when the teacher would, recognize me and call me, and I would really hate for her to do that. I kind of didn't want her to put me out in front in that way. I remember telling my advanced chemistry teacher, don't tell them it was me that blew the curve. And for those that never heard this terminology before, my advanced chemistry teacher, she was really cool. So she would grade on a curve. And so when you grade on a curve, so what that simply means is that they'll kick the person who is closest to an A. They will give them whatever points, or passing. Some is A, some is passing. So whatever they need to pass, they will give them that many points. But if someone has gotten an A, 100 or something, they blew the curve. So I think it's curving them up to an A. And so let's say the person had an 80, they would need like 10 points or whatever to get to an A. Then everybody would get 10 points added to their test grade to bump their grade up. Advanced chemistry came natural to me, like most things. I never studied in advanced chemistry. That's not a brag. You can ask people, I did not study. I didn't study in advanced chemistry. This is organic chemistry. I didn't study. It came natural to me. Not only did it come natural to me, I paid attention. Thank you for the glitter badge. Thank you for the roses. I paid attention. She always gave us the exam the day before, and I have a phenomenal memory. She not only gave us the exam the day before, she gave it to us verbatim and in order. Like, for me, it didn't make sense. So I would go in there, and she always had an extra credit question. She gave us the exam in order, verbatim, plus an extra credit question. So here I am with my strong memory, finishing first. I would leave the classroom. I would leave the classroom. I would leave the classroom because I already knew. And here come the test grades. And one day I think I told her after class, stop including me, because I'm going to get 110 or better. If they could have put my actual average in advanced chemistry on my report card, it was like 120, some really ridiculous thing like that. Because it was my favorite subject, but I did not want her to put me out front. I didn't want it. For me, it didn't feel safe to be in the limelight. It didn't feel safe for me to be out front. Even in middle school, 8th grade, I could have had the opportunity to sing solo in front of people. Negative. She's like, you don't know. I'm going to hang out over here by these tenors where I belong. Why? Because it's not me. The pretty girl, the pretty light-skinned girl with long hair is who gets to stand up front. The really cute, really popular guy I don't stand out front. And for anybody wondering what's my zodiac sign, I'm an Aquarius. Real stereotypical Aquarius in that regard. We hang in the background. We take on the task of innovating and leading humanity, but we don't actually want people to see us when we're actively in the task. So I'm sitting here on the phone having this, and this has happened twice in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks time span, I have gone live and someone who I love, I respect, as a creator, as a spiritualist, we're lovable. As a creative and spiritualist, has wanted to have a conversation with me. And I'm like, you want to talk to me? Me? You want to talk to me? And Uh, and no, you want to talk to me? And so the idea that I could be on the phone with these individuals, having a beautiful conversation, sharing knowledge back and forth, both of us getting. So Monday, I had to ask Ifa, what do you like? My relationship with my spiritual court really is kind of like friends. So I'll come to my altar and be like, what are you up to? Because it'll feel like, that friend that always want to set you up on a blind date. That's what it be feeling like. It be feeling like you trying to set me up on a blind date. And I just want to know, Papa, who this man is. Like, who you trying, like, what are you setting me up for? What are you positioning me for? Because this don't happen. Not for me. That's the way I felt about it. This don't happen. Not for me. And what's beautiful about having a spiritual practice is you can be in that space and have that revelation that this is where you are, and recognizing that you are in a moment of a shift. I am expanding where the borders of my subconscious into my unconscious, and reaching into the parts of myself. Thank you so much for the, was it finger heart? Thank you for the finger hearts. Um, Expanding my consciousness from limiting belief that I can't be seen, that no one can see me, no one is going to acknowledge me, that it's not like what I told my students is I had a block that told me it's not safe for me to be acknowledged. It is dangerous. And realizing how much of that came from ancestral trauma, because we think about our ancestors who were enslaved. And our ancestors that were enslaved, if they were too smart, they were dangerous. If they could read, they were dangerous. High Spanish Town Ashe, like it was dangerous to be able to stand out and be seen. You gotta pull that back. They they gotta pull that back. And so recognizing that within myself, and then you look at then your reality, because your subconscious is a beautiful filter that will filter out to you that truth. So you have in your RNA this truth that if they see us as smart, intelligent, forward thinking, we are a threat, because we can't possibly see something beyond what they are telling us. We can't believe that we're bigger than the smallness they want us to be. So it's a threat for us to be anything else. Hi, Tamika. And so then it's like, okay, what do I do here? So then you get things that reinforce the false belief. You get reinforced that false belief. So what do you see? You see things like Princess Diana, who was loved and treasured by her country and things of that nature, and even beyond. Like everyone loved Princess Di. And what happened? She was so famous that the people who follow the famous people, paparazzi are followers. People who follow the famous people, what happened? They caused her to be unalived. Like, if that isn't a reinforcement of it is not safe to be out here, people seeing me, people knowing who I am, but yet, for my astrology people, like if you could see that I have Jupiter sitting in Leo, conjunct Lilith, you would say, oh, but you're supposed to be seen. That's your calling. You're supposed to be. My North Node sits in Pisces in my ninth house, the house of the gurus and spiritual teachers. It's supposed to be out there. Yeah. Jupiter in Leo, and now I'm a progressed Leo rising. And it's just like, what? What do you mean? You're supposed to be a spiritual teacher. My Aquarius is a stellium. I have Aquarius, Sun, Mars, and Mercury sitting in my eighth house. Supposed to be doing something with spirituality. Supposed to be doing that. Supposed to be. Um, um, mm. So yesterday I posted a really quick video about the ocean. And one of my homeboys had sent me a reel, and the dude was like, "There's only one ocean." And he said, "I know there's more than one ocean, but there's only one ocean." He said, when you think about it and you really look at the ocean is simply one big body of water with some pieces of land that separate it. The person I had the phone call with, please feel me where this is going. There were pieces of land separating it, seeming like it's not the same body of water. It's not the same big giant mass of salt water, just happened to be little things divvying it up so that all these areas of the same water have different names. It's the same water with different names, but we don't recognize it as the same water. We don't recognize the ocean is simply one body of water. We don't recognize it that way. We see it as different parts with different names, but it's still the same water. And I was like, yo, yo, yo. So then I'm like, the first thing I immediately think about is the conversation we had regarding people and their traditions and whether spirituality, religion, whatever you want to call it. Because at the very end of the day, religion cannot exist without spirituality. Religion, literally, go look it up. You can trust me. Go to the dictionary and look up the word religion. Religion doesn't mean Christianity. Religion doesn't mean Islam. Religion doesn't mean Judaism. They are simply under that umbrella. Religion means a belief in a higher power, a source, God, whatever you want to call it. That's what religion means. It is the things that you do in association with that belief. Spirituality means you believe in the intangible realm, the spiritual realm, and its impact on our life. So if you believe in a higher power, that higher power is technically a spirit. So everyone that's spiritual is just simply not an organized religion. Everyone that's spiritual is simply not an organized religion. So I stopped saying I'm not religious. I absolutely am. My religion, if you ask me, is self-love. What my religion includes is things like charging my crystals under the moon, because I know that the creator, the source of all, created the moon and gave her all these beautiful powers to help cleanse and charge my crystals. So part of my religious practice is charging my crystals under the moon. See, spirituality is the knowing. Spirituality is the knowing. Religion is what you do with your knowing. Spirituality is the knowing. Religion are the things you do to honor your knowing. You don't have to be in an organized religion to have religion in your life. And so I always ask people, do you have religious trauma or do you have Christian trauma? Do you have Abrahamic trauma? Because I think a lot of us have a similar trauma. If you had an Abrahamic trauma, do you have Abrahamic trauma? Do you have Abrahamic trauma? Because like I wasn't raised as a Christian. I was raised as an Israelite, but my adjacents to everyone I know Christian, there are things that are associated with Christianity that used to give me nightmares. And I wasn't raised as a Christian. I would just listen to the things that my friends said, and it would terrify me and it would give me bad dreams. See, and my mama said is yeah, exactly. It's just simply these are just categories. That's it. These are just categories. So I looked at the ocean and I'm just like, these are just categories of the one water. It's just categories of the one of the one water. And if people who were in Abrahamic religions would simply hold conversation with people who decided to leave and go back to their traditional African roots and have a conversation and just simply have a conversation. Like I saw a post one day and the person was like, why would people find it so easy to go to their ancestors instead of going to God? And I was like, see, this is where ignorance comes in and you haven't held a conversation with someone, because the misnotion that people feel like their ancestors are above God is false. Your ancestors are in the pit house where God is. Let me just say that again. Your ancestors are in the pit house where God is. So instead of your auntie, your big ma, your family member being down here praying, hoping, begging, pleading for the creator, the source of all, to do whatever it is she's hoping for over your life, well, if she's transitioned to the ancestral garden, at the end of in my mind, this is my perception. In my mind, it's a garden. I think gardens are beautiful, and I think Earth is beautiful, so it's a garden. And so at the end of the garden, there's this penthouse, and the creator, the source, hangs out in the penthouse. And so what happens? Your ancestor goes, knocks on the penthouse door. Door opens because, the source would have an open door policy. Duh. So opens the door, and, your mom and them is like, hey, my baby, trying to get this new job. And I just need for him, her, them to do this thing. This thing. And I just want to say, if it's okay, can I go whisper in their ear so they go do the thing? Can I send them the intuitive nudge so they do the thing? And they don't have to guess whether or not the creator heard them. Why? Because they're right there. They don't have to speculate whether source heard them. Why? Because they're right there. They're right there. So when we venerate and we honor and are elevating our ancestors and acknowledging first and foremost the accomplishments and things that they did in this life in their physical form, we acknowledge what they did as humans, whether we are acknowledging the things they did that need to be healed or the things that they did that led to greatness, we acknowledge them. And we give thanks and gratitude, because at the end of the day, were it not for them, we would not exist. We start there. We start there because inherently what will end up happening is they're going to advocate for you as much as they can anyway. So it's like general, like on GP, thank you. Thank you for looking out. Thank you so much for looking out. And this is what I say. There's all three Abrahamic traditions, in some regard, have ancestral veneration built in. They simply don't acknowledge it as that. When I listen to, as a kid, and I think back and hearing things as a kid, like if we were doing something for one of the high holy days, and the first way they would say, the God of, and then they run the list of names. What do we do with ancestral veneration but call their names? But every holiday, Ham, Isaac, Joseph, we're what? Calling the names of who? If we have a belief that these people lived and existed and were part of the physical reality at some point, they are ancestors. You're welcome. Catholicism, saints. Saints were people. They are people that they elevated. They were people that were elevated. And they honor them. How do they honor them? Candles, shrines, altars? Sounds like ancestor veneration to me. I could be wrong, and I will accept that. But in my estimation, when I look at what my ancestor veneration practice looks like, and I look at what it means to honor the saints, well, that's ancestor veneration. Respectfully. Even Christianity, and I can't speak a whole lot because I wasn't raised as a Christian. But if you believe that Yeshua lived as a man and then transitioned, and you honor him and have elevated him, you got a whole faith based on ancestral veneration, because you know what? He wasn't a Christian. He was an Israelite. He was Hebrew. So you have a whole faith based upon his life, honoring it, revering it. Like I said, if you just hold conversations, no judgment, no looking to fight, no looking to argue, no trying to hit somebody with a religious bottle. I'm sorry. Y'all, if y'all are new here, I will relate anything to a song. If y'all are new here, I got musical Tourette's. Everything is related to songs. So being able to see us in our sameness, um, we need to see. You know what? Some of us do. Some of us spiritual folks do. Well, we'll take Ifa as a good example. Ifa is a good example. Isheshe was a victim of colonization. How it manifested. I got fly. Put that in the trash, child. Oh my God. I'm sorry, my son came in here with a bug and it took all I had to not be cool, to just not scream. So Isheshe was a victim of colonization. Whether the manifestation of that victimization came about with how it looks in the home country, with the influences around it. You can find Odus that mention Islam. Why? If that doesn't indicate a colonized influence, I don't know what does. So you have that influence. Then you have the influence that the transatlantic slave trade had, where Isheshe had to partner. This is how I visualize it. So Isheshe's mother, and she had to partner with different fathers in different areas of the diaspora. The fathers would be a Abrahamic tradition of some sort. So whether that was Catholicism, giving birth to Santeria, Lukumi, whether that was I don't know I don't know who the daddy is for Shango Baptist, but these different Christian traditions that married Isheshe and gave birth to new derived religions, new derivations of the original, and even the version of Isheshe that exists today is still not 100% what it was when their ancestors practiced it. But everyone wants to be right. And one thing I can say about my Ialode's former elder is the thing that I will always say that was the best advice. It is not the way, it is a way. It's not the way. It's simply a way. Is it effective? So when I think about people who are raised as Catholics, who are all of a sudden having this conscious awakening, and all of a sudden they're discovering African spirituality, but they have a little trepidation. They're a little not sure. How do I make this shift? Santeria Lukumi makes the most sense. Why? Especially if they are of a Spanish speaking lineage. It makes perfect sense because that would have the medicine that they need in order to be able to honor the call of their African lineage, while it not being this humongous shift gears in mindset because the Orisha had been syncretized with saints. Y'all, does that make sense to y'all? That's the medicine that some people need. Some people need the structure of the way Lukumi Santeria works. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong. It simply means that is the medicine that they need. Some people, that's not the medicine they need. And thus, that's not the tradition they crown under. They need something different. They need something closer to what Isheshe may have looked like traditionally. That wasn't the medicine I needed. There was nothing my Ori was telling me that said, go this way. If anything, my Ori dissuaded me in almost, I had an opportunity. There's a botanica like less than 10 minutes from my house. And I had booked a reading to see who my quote unquote guardian angel is. I booked that. Why? Because they were the resource I had close to me. That's why I said at the beginning, a lot of African Americans without any Catholic roots, without any Spanish heritage, go to Lukumi Santeria because the proximity to Ifa, this is what they have. That is their proximity to Ifa. And so that's what they need in order to be able to come to the religion. So you go and you're like, I don't, I book it. So the day comes and they call me, but guess what they end up giving me? They don't really give me the guardian angel reading, and they don't even realize they've done the wrong thing until they're done. Once they're done, they're like, oh my God, that's not what you booked. You were supposed to have a guardian angel reading. And I was like, yeah, that's what I was thinking. And so then they were like, I am so sorry. We can do it again, yada, yada. And I'm like, nah, it's fine. It's okay. It's okay. Because if it didn't happen, there has to be a reason that it didn't happen. So I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm okay. So now I'm like, what am I going to do? How am I, what am I supposed to do now? And I'm very grateful that my cousin introduced me to a radio show that was hosted by who would become my godmother. And going to a more traditional Ifa, I don't have a head Orisha. If you ask me, who's your head Orisha? My Ori. That's who my head Orisha is. It's my Ori. Outside of that, there's no Orisha fighting for supremacy over my personality. Whoever needs to manifest accordingly, and that's that. And that's that. I don't have to I don't have a head Orisha. And for me personally, that is more logical to me. That's more logical. When you look at the Odus, your Ori is the one energy, one divinity, even including your ancestor, that is with you through every event of life. The roles and the responsibilities of your ancestors may shift. The roles and responsibilities of your Orisha may shift. But you know what doesn't shift? Your Ori. And knowing that, that made the most sense to me. I stated the story up part of this all the time. I didn't have any designs on crowning. Not a bit, not an iota, was not mentally in my realm of possibilities. You say I'm going to initiate? Y'all cute. That's funny. And which is true. And that's why I have that. So I was like, I don't want that. So I didn't think I was going to initiate. I didn't think I was going to be like, in my grand scheme of things, I thought I was just going to be a devotee. And that's what I was meant to think until it was time for me to know something else. And so when I finally was gifted, because I feel like she was given to me as a gift, honestly. When I was gifted my elder, it was just like, Ashe, exactly. Like I was gifted my elder. And I mean that in a very literal sense. I have been watching her radio show, enjoying it, love the way she talked about Orisha and Ifa. And then I was gifted divination. I'll get it. Go get the purple phone for now. I was gifted divination as a birthday present. Somebody paid for me to get divination for her. And when she does the divination, it's like, yeah, you're going to initiate and you're going to be a priest. And by the time she got to me, I had already been venerating my Ori for months. And I had been already honoring my ancestors for almost a year. So when she said it, there was no trepidation. There was no, oh my God, that's not possible, yada, yada, yada. I didn't have that feeling. It's charged. I just have to turn it on. I had no feelings that she was wrong. None whatsoever. I knew she was right. I knew she was right. And I knew she was going to be the one to help support me. And what was beautiful is she wouldn't let me answer right then and there. When it came up and we finished talking, she said, do not give me an answer now. She gave me homework to do and told me to do the homework first and then come back and let her, if I decided to continue, to come back and she'd let me know what the next steps were. And I think I've just, I was like, yeah, I'm ready. And honestly, I think I have just emulated her. Um, I think I've just emulated her in that particular way because now anyone who's come to me, I won't let them say yes right away. I give them homework. They got to start a relationship with their Ori first. If they don't already have a relationship with their Ori, they have to start. It's already turned down. I don't even think it's all that loud. Hold on. Yeah, it's fine. Go ahead. And I'll get the iPad for you in a second. It's turned down. Yeah. Um, but I don't let them answer me right away. They have to go ahead and establish a relationship with the Ori and see what the Ori says. They could feel the pull and everything, but it may not be me. And that's the other thing I think sometimes we have to. Do you want it to turn up? Which one do you want? Is it needed louder or softer? Softer. Well, it's already turned down. It's not loud. And it's not loud. Um, but being able to trust their intuition and their inner knowing because that I don't want to just I want to get some money that's not no. If it's supposed to be me, cool. And if it's not supposed to be me, cool. But I wish the font wasn't in white because then I could see it better. It wasn't supposed to be cool. So I'm grateful for how that manifested. I'm really grateful. And um, knowing that now, you know, I have my relationship with Ifa and Orisha and, the Odu I got that I talked about earlier, it was just like, okay, this makes sense to me. This makes sense. I can see how this may unfold. I can't see the full unfolding, but I got a good idea about how it may unfold. So I'm excited to see how this plays out, how this works. And it's been lovely to see, how many people call and um how many people actually call and say, okay, you know what? Um I'm supposed to do something with you. And I'm like, okay, cool. All right, bet. Say less. I got you. I got you. I'm only seeing the tail end of the conversation. I told us to the tail end of the conversation. But to what I was saying earlier about this need for us to come back into union and talk and yeah. So like I said, even from a spiritual community standpoint, there's always going to be a level of ego, because it's not obliterated, which is not the intention. The intention is never to obliterate your ego. It's to get your ego and your favorite self to be in alignment. Um, but there's always going to be someone that's, there's got to be something. It's got to be something. Understand. Sorry, y'all. I was trying to read and catch up, but nope, y'all are too far in your own conversation. So I'm not gonna catch up to that. I'm not gonna catch up to that. Not gonna catch up to that. So I will say that um they um one thing I will say is that you have to come to whatever you decide to do. You cannot I would encourage you to consider how much it limits you in your relationship with the source. And this is what I mean when I say that. If at any point you feel like the creator only has one phone number, That's the way I describe it. It's having only one phone number. Like the source is not going to hear me if I do this or I can't get a message. These are like immortal, eternal energies that have no association with time and space. They have no association with time and space. So if at any point you feel like eternal, immortal, limitless, boundless energy cannot connect with you, I would encourage you to consider your relationship with that tradition, religion, practice, etc., that line of thought. Because in some things are, but some things just are. And the source of all existence simply just is. And so, in that, knowing that the source of all existence simply just is, and in that just is, nature is limitless and boundless and can be anywhere, do anything, all of these things. So, if you are in a space where you look at the earth, you look at the ocean, and someone says, that's not the same water. That's all different water. I would consider, reevaluating your relationship with the creator. I would consider it. One of the first things I asked before Ifa, before Orisha, my very first spiritual mentor, I asked them and I said, hey, I just, they asked me, like, what do you want? You're on this journey now. What do you want? Or let me qualify that better. You are aware you're on the journey. You are always on a spiritual journey. So when we say some things like, "What, I'm just beginning my spiritual journey," no, you're not. You have always been on a spiritual journey. You are on a conscious awareness of your spirit at this point, but you've always been on a spiritual journey. So now that you're consciously aware that you're on a spiritual journey, what do you want? And what I said was, I want to feel like God doesn't hate me. I want to feel like I have a relationship with God and that God doesn't hate me. And when I say the universe was like, she's ready. She's ready. She's ready. And I could do a whole nother live all about how my spiritual gifts manifested, every last one of them simultaneously. I could totally do a separate live on that all my spiritual gifts manifested simultaneously. Like, let me just, you know what, this is what I'll say. Waking up one day, you wake up one day and you're regular, I'm lying. I've never been regular. I'm an Aquarius. I ain't never been regular. Like, you at corporate job, they're like, you always got to be extra. So I ain't never been regular. But then you get this confirmation of your irregularity. And then to top off with the irregular weirdness, right. Sag ain't regular. Sagittarius is the Aquarius of the fire signs. Like, oh yeah, you're right on the cusp. Like you are like right on the bubble of Capricorn. Um so you wake up, you're going about your day, your day's feeling regular to you, and then all of a sudden it's like boom, you're not, like, intuition is a psychic gift. Let me just say this before I say what I'm about to say next. Intuition is a psychic gift. Once again, you can go to the dictionary, it actually describes it as such. It is a psychic gift, and it's something that everyone has. Everyone has intuition, everybody has instinct. So yeah, you're welcome. But to realize that you can do more, like from an inner child perspective, my little girl self, for people who've been following me a while know, as a little girl, I wanted to be a witch. That was all I want. I wanted to be a witch, a teacher, and a doctor. Those three: a witch, a teacher, and a doctor. I would say that I'm honoring my inner child well based upon what I do. So witch, teacher, doctor, that's what I wanted to be. And as a witch, as a little girl, I was the most powerful witch, the absolute most powerful witch, uneffable. If that was a phrase as in my childhood, that's exactly how I would have felt about me as a witch. I wanted to have a creepy house, and I wanted it to be creepy, but I was going to give out the best candy on Halloween. Like it's going to be full size name brand candy, just like my mom did. I want to give out the best candy on Halloween. So you wake up one day, and all of a sudden, you've always been an empath. So you could be an empath without full blown clairsentience. Clairsentients are empathic, but you can be an empath without that full blown clairsentience manifesting. So I've always been an empath, but the clairsentience, walking into the room, and I'm like, why does it feel thick in here? Why does it feels thick? Like I could cut it with a knife. What's going on with the air? And I was doing stuff like cutting the AC on, cutting the fan on, because it just felt thick. I didn't know. I didn't realize it. The day I had the conversation with my mentor, and I was like, hey, I want to feel like I have a relationship with God. And the universe, answered immediately, answered me instantaneously. I had just got my first purchased crystals in the mail. Someone had given me crystals, but the first time I bought crystals, I got them in the mail that same day. I love a good synchronicity. That timing was perfect. And I go and I'm like, all right, cool. I got crystals. No one told me don't put all my crystals in my hand at once. No one told me. No one told me that you should probably get them out the bag one at a time. I was excited like a little kid. I had just opened a new package. It's 2020 at the time this is happening. I'm real excited as a little kid. Open them. Oh, my crystals are here. And guess who almost hit the floor? I'm like, oh, I had a big chunk of amethyst in my house for at least several years, never felt anything. Put these little bitty crystals in my hand, and it almost sent me to the hospital because I almost hit the floor and cracked my cranium. Waking up one day knowing that you are nowhere near as regular as you perceive yourself to be, was it was just so wild to me. Tarot came to me kind of in the same way. I kept, when you start your conscious awakening, all of a sudden your feed changes. All of a sudden you see all this stuff in your feed that you didn't see before. So now all of a sudden YouTube got to pick a card readings. And I've always been curious about tarot, always. Because again, as a kid, I wanted to be a witch. So I've always been curious about tarot, but I never had exposure to tarot beyond a movie. So I see like they're doing tarot readings on YouTube. This is so freaking cool. So I'm watching it, and what you don't realize when you do watch a pick a card reading is that the gift is not only on the side of the person doing the reading. And this is what my learning was. I still have to be intuitively led to the right pile in order for me to get the right message. It's not just, oh, I'm just going to pick this one. No, your intuition is leading you. And the stronger your intuition is, the more accurate the pile you choose, and thus the more accurate your reading. I thought Shanetta's Divine Tarot was spying on me. I just knew her love behind was somewhere in the trees, watching my life, spying on me. Because every time I watched one of her readings, she was all in my business. She was all in my business, telling all my business to the whole world. I was like, how are you doing this? So I took a sabbatical from home not Mother's Day weekend, but the weekend after Mother's Day. And I decided, I'm going to check out. I'm like, oh, snap, there's some little occult shops in my city. Who knew? Not I. So I'll go check them out. The Everyday Witch Oracle deck screamed at me so loud. And if no one's ever seen that deck, if it was closer to me, I'd pull it out. But there's a little black girl in a little witch hat sitting in a boat on the cover of the deck on the box. And I'm like, oh my God, I must have her. She's so cute. She's so pretty. I must have these cards. And I'm like, okay. Um I am like, okay, let me get these. I want to get these cards, but I back away from it. I back away, and my brain was. You say you get waves of electricity when people are talking. Here I go jumping in the middle of the conversation because it caught my eye. Actually, it caught my eye because in your brain, it caught my eye. The wave and the electricity caught my eye because Yemo John Shargo. So I immediately like, what you talking about? And but you can't tell if it's good or bad. How does the rest of you feel when it happens? Or are you too taken aback by the brain feeling that you can't actually tell about everything else? Okay, so I would, if I was, if you were one of my students, this is what I would do. We would do an exercise, and see if it happens when someone is saying something good to you. So if someone's talking to you, like, if you have a spiritual elder, maybe ask them, like, have a conversation and have them say nothing but good things, nothing but good things, and see if you get the charge in your brain. So if you don't get the charge, the electrical feeling when they're saying good things, then tell them to say something not good. Same way, like, water. So have them say, like, not good things to you, things that would make you uncomfortable or uneasy, and see if you in fact get it then. This is how you learn your spiritual language. And this way you can control it. You can also ask your spiritual core, or especially if it's happening in your brain, it's your ori. Ask your ori to only do it in specific scenarios. So if it's electrical charge and it's discomfort, like it doesn't feel good, like you want to do this to your head when you feel it, then tell your ori, only give me this feeling if you're warning me. Only give me this feeling if there's negative energy. This is how sometimes we don't realize we are the sovereign in our spiritual practice. We are the sovereign. They're here to support us. So we're the sovereign in our spiritual practice. So when we're in our spiritual practice, having that relationship with our spiritual team, they're trying to communicate. But if we don't communicate how we want to be communicated to, they don't know how to talk to us. So tell them. So if you don't like that, if that feeling feels off or anything because it's just weird, then tell them, hey, I only want to feel this if you're trying to warn me. Because that's what it feels like. It feels like a warning. So let's just limit it to being a warning. And then you have to exercise the muscle. You have to then do the work to prime it. Then you have to prime it so that it works the way that you want it to work. So like my intuitive yes, I know what my intuitive yes is. I had a physical sensation in my body when I'm getting yes from spirit. And so you prime it. So I can ask like you do with a pendulum. Hey, you ask questions that you know what it is, and then you prime the muscle. Then you have to work the muscle. And then once you work the muscle, then you'll know without question when you go someplace. The other day, I got a splitting headache. I was thinking about doing something, and the way my head split, and I'm like, yo, what's good? Like, why are you telling me no? because I know that's what my no is. I know that's what my no is. So I ask, why are you telling me no? What's going on? I'm like, let a sister know what's really good. Every once in a while, it'll feel like someone is holding my arm. And so I've determined certain sides of my body are representative of certain energies. The way my yes feels is like, if you're old enough to remember Bewitched or I Dream a Genie, the little nose wrinkle, that's what my yes feels like. You can't see it the way you see it on the TV show, but it feels like that's what's happening to me. That's my yes. Why? Because as a little kid, I wanted my nose to be able to do that. So it makes sense that would be my yes. But let's say future me, not my Ori, but me from the future, is trying to get my attention. I will do this. And it's like, and it's an obvious, like, no one's touching my nose, but it feels like somebody did this to my nose. And I'm like, first of all, what made you make this decision that was the way you were going to communicate with yourself? Please make this make sense. Why are you tweaking my nose in this way? So I'm like, okay, cool. You know who else does that to me? Shango. Shango does the same thing, tweaks my nose. And I'm like, dude. And so it kind of depends on what's happening, how I tell the difference between the two of them. But it's a muscle. It's a muscle. And sometimes, we have to work the muscle. We have to work the muscle just like with anything else. Like with my intuition. Sometimes this is nice. This came out nice. I hope it's not too heavy. I totally hope it's not too heavy, but it's for a guy, so it should not be. It should not be too heavy. Shouldn't be too heavy. But, my intuition, sometimes if I don't have anything going on, I don't have any readings to do. One, if I don't have any booked readings, sometimes I'll go live just to put myself in the gym. Huh? You can have some animal cookies. Animal cookies? Go get it off the shelf. Yeah. But sometimes I'll go pop up real random on Facebook, like I'm gonna do readings because it'll make me work out. Keeps my muscle prime. It's in the kitchen, the pink bag. It's a pink bag on the shelf. You can reach it. But I have to keep the muscle prime. So I'll go like pop on and do readings live. I'm hoping I fixed my thing for my green screen so I can start doing readings on TikTok, because I've done a general collective reading on TikTok, but I have not done individual readings on TikTok. And that's because it just seems really cumbersome to pin a comment. So I wanted to make a little cover thing for my lives. I wanted to. Do I need more beads on here? I might need this. But I need to do that so I can go live on TikTok and do readings, because right now I only do them on Facebook. But I'll do that. Or I'll just take a day and let my intuition take me around town, which is always the coolest experience. If you have never had your intuition take you on a journey around your town, I highly encourage you to do this exercise. And the way I do it is, it starts with what I'm going to wear. So my intuition will dress me. I'll lay out some clothes, and whichever one my intuition says has the best vibration, that's how I get dressed. And Jaheem, tell Jaheem to come here. Come here, Jaheem. So I let my intuition pick my clothes, and that's what we start from. And intuition is where we start. Raheem, come here. Go get Raheem. Get the cookies. Get the pink cookies down for Jelani. Go in the kitchen and get the pink cookies. Follow Jaheem. I don't want the cookies. So go get the cookies out the kitchen.
Only cookies.
Yes, the pink bag. The pink bag of cookies. And yes, I have pink cookies in a plastic bag. They're just not getting crushed by a pillow. And if you're old enough to catch the reference, I love you. But I let my intuition take me from place to place. The last time I let my intuition ride me around town, I inevitably ended up in a restaurant giving the waitress a reading. It was the wildest. I went to Twin Peaks, and I'm like, why am I eating at Twin Peaks? We're going to Twin Peaks, and the way it worked out so beautifully. I saw a deer on the side of the road. It didn't come out. I just saw a deer, and I was like, well, I got to see a deer today. Had I not driven this way because I went away I normally wouldn't, I wouldn't have seen the deer. So I see the deer. I pull over at one restaurant. Don't even end up eating there. I sit there long enough to record a couple of TikToks and then I leave and go to Twin Peaks. I pull up at Twin Peaks. I don't even notice it at first. But when I first walk in, the table they sit me at has what over my head? A deer head. And I'm like, all right, well, clearly I'm supposed to be here. So I sit down, order my food, and I think I'm watching a pick a card on YouTube. And the waitress was like, do you do tarot? I was like, yeah. And she's got this look. I said, why, you want to read them? She's like, would you? And I happened to have been traveling with oracle cards. Child, I made her cry at my table. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean it, but she needed it. I didn't mean to make her cry, but what I said, she absolutely needed it. And that's happened like 2 or 3 times. Intuition takes me around town and leads me to somebody so that they can get a reading or get a message or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, okay. So I always encourage people, even my students, when we get to the intuition portion of our program, that's one of their pieces of homework is to let their intuition take them around town and see how that will actually show up. See how that will manifest in their day. What magic, and I tell them, don't do anything else other than just let it take you around town. I did an exercise honestly, I did this exercise with God. And what I said was, show me some wonders. I picked 5 wonders that I wanted the creator to show me in my physical reality. And they were the most random things, like a pink elephant, a black angel, and a what? What? Are you saying Sparta? I mean, I haven't even watched, I haven't watched 300. Maybe the 300 maybe I'm going to watch 300 today. But just 5 things. And all people's like, God wouldn't do that. Why? This shows your relationship with your creator. Why, if I said, God, can you just show me these 5 things today? I mean, is that really taking some skin off of the creator's back to show me the 5 things? Can it not be done? Because that's the only reason that me asking would be a problem is like, God can't do that. Why? Why can't God do that? So I go ahead and I ask for the 5 things. And in the most unusual way, they manifest it. You can't set an expectation on how you're going to see it. You just hear these 5 things. And I would love to see them. I would just love to see them show up in my reality. And it was so cool because the one that lingered last was the Black Angel. And the Black Angel was significant for me because my son's name is Gabriel. My firstborn son transitioned the day we were born. So, hi. My son, transitioned the day he was born. And he's named after the Archangel Gabriel. It's more significant than that, but for people, to not ask me, like, he's named after Archangel Gabriel. So I wanted a Black angel. And I let go of how it was going to show up. I let go of it. And it was the very last thing to show up in my physical reality. And it showed up in my cards. And I had just gotten these cards. And this particular card, tell Jaheim to come here. The deck of the cards, I hadn't seen all the deck, I didn't go through them or anything like that. I just cleansed them, interviewed them, and I just started using them. So I hadn't seen all the cards. And it was the magician. It was a magician, showed up as a black angel. And I'm like, yo. All right then, all 5 done. And Jaheim, come here. Dude. So let your intuition take you on a journey. I'm trying to look. I keep looking at this necklace because I don't know. I'll let him tell me. I'll let him tell me to see whether or not he wants me to add some more beads. He might not care. He might not care. It might not stretch the way I think it's going to. I think it's going to stretch though. You know what? I'm going to just make the loop better. I'm going to make the loop better. But thank y'all for keeping me companies whilst I bead and all the things. I really appreciate it. I was like, I want to do this. I want some, I just want to come. Thank you for the roses. Thank you for the roses. So as I go, I'm going to get ready to wrap up. For people who have never gotten a reading before or simply never gotten a reading from me, I am running a special. Today is the last day where you can get a reading from me for only $40. All you got to do is inbox me. And for my loyal folks, or even if you just, honestly. Ato. Alafia Cezanne. It's nice to see you. Jaheim, go to the kitchen and get the pink animal cookies.
The pink animals.
Yes. I was thinking the same thing just now. I was like, dude, what? I was thinking the same thing. It's always nice to see you as well. It's always nice to see. And thank you again for the wagon, bruh. When I say that thing, a pink one, that's red. I want pink. Yeah. It was just, clutch. Absolutely clutch. Look in the closet. It was really clutch, and oh yeah, look. I use that joint to pull the groceries out the car. Who's carrying all the bags? Not I. Not I, said the brown girl. Not carrying all the bags. Not carrying them at all. Thank you. Yes, Jackie.
A bowl.
Here, you can put them right. There you go. Enjoy. Yes, man. And it's hot. Like, I don't know. Like, it's hot. Like, for those who don't know, I'm in Georgia. It's hot. It's hot. It's hot in GA. It's hot. It's HOT hot. And I went to the flea market to kind of just, fill it out, see if I want to do it again another weekend. I was let me just, before I go also, well, first, let me just say, I am giving divination. Oh yeah, I am giving divination this week for my loyal folks or people who just want it for half off. So if you want a divination in form of a tarot reading or divination form of EFI, I'm giving them half off. I'll be ready. I will be ready for you. I wanted to do something. Absolutely. Hit me up. So I'm gonna go ahead and set a couple. For people who've never gotten a reading from me, and you get one, like I said, if you don't need full blown divination, they'll go ahead and do the $40 joint. Like the $40 one is fine. You'll still get you still get enough tea. But if you feel like you need full blown divination or you want E5 divination, then yeah, it's only $75 this week. Like it's the perfect, if you want E5, this is the perfect week to get it because it's only $75 this week. And I do have space to do some on Zoom for the folks that are not local. So yeah, definitely get them done. So I'm going to tell you what getting a reading from me is like. So, if no one's ever watched me channeling on live, so I am absolutely a medium and an oracle. Those two things are not the same. Um, and I'm quick to slip into oneness with spirit. I feel like my hoodoo folks would say that I'm often two headed, and I spend a lot of time that way. I spent a lot of time in that way. So I'm always present. I'm never fully ever displaced. There's never a moment where I'm like completely gone. That doesn't mean I remember what I said, but I'm still not completely gone. And if I don't throw a song lyric randomly in there, did you actually get a reading from me? Because I like music and the spirit will speak to me in the form of a song. And it's not always like, so I've been getting better about channeling songs that people might actually know. So like I did one in the apothecary once and it was an outcast song and I'm looking at this little old white lady in front of me getting this reading. I'm like, she is not gonna get this song reference. What is we doing right now? But it was the appropriate song for her reading. So yeah, I will cry. It's a lot of energy, I may cry or burst into laughter, a fit of laughter. I promise you I'm not high if that happens. Mama does not imbibe by any stretch of the imagination because I don't need no help. I don't need. I'm weird enough sober. I don't want to know what me with alcohol in my system would be like. I don't want to meet her. I have no desire to meet this chick after a few. Oh no, I don't want to know what she looked like. I don't want no plant medicine. I want to know what she looked like. But my intention when I do one is never to tell you something that your spiritual team has not already been trying to tell you. If your spiritual team has been trying to tell you something, chances are that is what I'm going to channel. And as a side effect, I think I've only given 2 readings since I started doing them publicly where the person didn't cry. So sorry in advance. Sorry in advance. I don't go into it trying to make them cry, but I feel like the side effect is you get this knowing deep within you. And I put them drinks down, put them down. You get this deep knowing within you that says, this is exactly what I needed to hear in this moment. And because of it, it's like your whole spirit is like, yes. And there's a release. There's a release. And a lot of times that happens in the form of crying. So sorry in advance. But I like doing, you'll notice that I'm also really humble, even when I'm divining. Um, if I think synchronicities are cool and I will always react to them, I'll be like, oh my God, it will always happen. I'm still a professional, but I'm a professional who loves what she does. And early in my journey, I set an intention with God that I never want to get to a place where this ever feels simply just regular. I want to always be in a place of awe and wonderment, even within my own gifts. I want to enjoy the wonderment like a kid when I'm doing my work. So whether it is I'm fixing a candle for you, or I'm doing something like this necklace that I made for my buffet, or an oil or a jar or something like that, or just doing a reading and I'm channeling and then the cards end up confirming what I channeled, I am absolutely going to be like, yo, that's going to happen. That's going to happen. Why? Because I love the way the divine moves and I'm always in awe of it. Like the most smallest little way to be like connecting the dots. And I'm just like, yo, this is so freaking cool. I don't even know what to do with myself. It is so cool. And I'm always honored when people choose me as their absolute very first. Like if you choose me to be your, divination cherry, well, awesome. Awesome. Um, Ashe, enjoy your day. And this is the way or a way. And the the idea that I could pull something that the person themselves hadn't shared with anyone. Like, that's still ridiculous to me. The person would, like, what? I'm always floored. I stay floored. So you'll have a good time if you get one from me. It's a party. It's a party whenever I do a reading. All right. So I stayed on a few minutes longer because I wanted Cezanne to feel like he at least got his work, got his time. I want to make sure Cezanne got his time with me on live. But, bruh, you're welcome, beloved. You're welcome. I'm gonna go because apparently I'm gonna get a phone call, and I want to make sure my phone has enough juice so that I have my phone call for this tea that's apparently about to be poured on me while I'm on the phone. So thank y'all so much again for holding me hostage for over an hour. Like, for real, for real, for real, for real, for real. Um, Look, Cezanne, one day when you have the time, we will chat. We will absolutely chat. Like, we have to. I've gotten a hat and a wagon. We must have a verbal, a Zoom or something conversation. And you, just long as you don't make me slip away, don't greet Shango while you talk to me. That's it. That's all I'm asking. I had to tell somebody on the live that y'all can't call Shango while you talk to me because I don't be expecting it, and thus I can't ground before you do it. So yeah, as long as you don't do that, we're good. All right, y'all. Let me go because my children have gotten exceptionally quiet, and thankfully I have the cookie bag. So no, that's not it. I just need to see what they're doing. And yeah, Darcel, I'll text you in a second so that you can call me. Bye, y'all. You as well, hon. Have a wonderful day.